Alright, so I recently played through Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. I've got to admit, this was a really weird game for me leading up to its release. Like, initially, I just wasn't really that interested at all. I was still kind of bitter that they moved away from the Sega All-Stars aspect of the series. I wasn't sure how Sonic Team, who took over development from Sumo, would fare out given their lack of recent experience with the genre and their overall mixed quality of their games. And I was also kind of bitter about the Mario Kart world situation too. I'm not going to dive too deep in here and get, too sidetracked, but I want to put my money where my mouth is and not support the recent direction Nintendo's been going, but at the same time I really like Mario Kart. But then some time passed, saw Mario Kart World had some big shortcomings, saw that they were bringing back, some Sega All-Stars as well as just some miscellaneous All-Stars and DLC and free updates. Looked a bit deeper in the whole CrossWorlds thing and thought it was a pretty cool concept. And then one of the big things that, almost directly triggered my reevaluation of potentially getting this game was the ad that they had taking shots at Mario Kart World, very reminiscent of the classic Nintendont commercials. And I just love to see it. I wish we saw more companies with, fun ads like that. Overall, the whole CrossWorlds mechanic, the big selling point of this game, was okay. I liked it. But I don't know. I feel like in some of the marketing and that, they made it seem like you have more control over it than you actually do. It's pretty much always between a random stage before you enter the portal and a random stage after you enter the portal. And I wish there was, maybe a way to, I don't know, maybe before the race everyone can pick a preferred cross-world that would be chosen if they're in the lead after the first lap. Or maybe you can, categorize a set of random stages based on, I don't know, environments or what cup they're in, or even give each course a default cross world, or even the option to just keep on the main track. Just some ideas off the top of my head. I thought I would like to see, kind of explored if, we see this idea again from whoever it may be. I will say, one of the trade-offs you get for the whole CrossWorlds thing is I feel like you learn the tracks and sort of discover some of your favorites and least favorites a lot slower than you normally would in a kart racer. It almost initially feels more like an open world Need for Speed game with, randomized routes through the city. And overall, it just took longer to get past that with the break you have in the middle of the race with the crossworld. And even the third lap is pretty much always a variant of the stage with something changed with its overall layout and flow. So I don't really think I have a preference one way or another with that, but it is something to maybe kind of keep in mind. Maybe some people won't like that as much. One thing I really liked about this game was it's really simple, but the red rings in the stages, except the third red ring in North Star Island. Fuck that one. But I don't know, it was all pretty reminiscent of classic Crash Team Racing CRT token challenges. I only wish that after you collected a ring, maybe in your next run on the course, the ones you previously collected were marked differently, like maybe a different color or something, because it's hard to tell, especially if you've collected all of them, which ones you have or haven't collected in that session, because you still get a decent bonus for collecting all of them. But yeah, that one at North Star Island again, though. Like, you kind of needed a boost item to reach it. And it was like one time I got hit by an item that got rid of the boost item I was saving. Another time I just never got a boost item throughout the entire race. Another time I overshot it. Another time I was too far to the left. It took me way longer than it should have, especially when you had to go all the way to lap 3 to even have a shot to get it. Granted, maybe I could have, done a little customization with my perks to make it a bit easier, but when that's the only one that kind of required something like that, it kind of just stands out and isn't preferred. I guess at least it was a little more forgiving than CTR challenges, since you didn't need to win the race and all tokens, rings in this case, that you previously collected were already counted towards the total. There's a lot of customization with the karts in particular in this game, and with the perks that I mentioned before. You got a good variety there. And I'm not going to lie, I normally didn't really get too into kart customization, and I don't know what grabbed me this time. Maybe it's that you had a little more customization with the kart itself, being able to alter the front and the back independently, or maybe it was because, they added, different colors rather than a default to it, or something, but I actually did kind of get into it a little bit here. The only thing that's kind of disappointing about it is that, you'll sort of find your preferred play style, and I wish they had something similar to CTR Nitro Fueled's engine swap mechanics. So if you really like a character, or you really like the look of a certain category of vehicle you created, you can still play it even if you don't prefer that play style for whatever reason. I don't know, I feel like not having that sort of defeats some of the purpose of customization, when you might eventually just sort of lock yourself into one category. I think it would have been cool too if you could maybe mix and match certain parts from, the different categories. Obviously you can't do it for all of them, like the hoverboards, but I don't know, probably some of the other ones would have worked out fine. I will say, to unlock all of the customization parts, you do really need to grind, I feel like. Thankfully, I believe that there isn't any microtransactions, which is good. And honestly, overall with the game, I defeated all the rival teams in Race Park. I did all the cups on, I forget what they're even called here, but this game's iteration of 150cc, 200cc, and mirror. And I had enough money to customize one kart in each category to my liking, maybe two. You do get more credits for increasing your rival difficulty, but overall, it seemed very minimal. And there was even some difficulties, like, I don't know if this was an exact example, but level 6 and 7 would get the same bonus. But then, some of the later ones were honestly just really, really brutal. Like, I was having a fun time going through some of the challenges. Some are linked to achievements, some aren't. And I thought there would be a challenge for clearing a cup rival on max difficulty. Turns out there wasn't, meaning this was all a complete waste of time, but I spent so much time. I think I had 100 some credits going in, and you can redo a race for credits without losing your cup progress. And I made it into, feasible shape in the final race where, if I won the race or if I beat my rival by a spot or two, I would have been fine. But I just wasn't able to do it. Luckily, the only challenge that, at least that I saw, because I think there might be a secret set that I never unlocked, but the only one I saw that was linked to difficulty was to win one race against a rival in Rival Park. And if you look it up, there's some ways to kind of cheese that too, to be a bit easier. I really liked Race Park, though. I don't know if this is something that they did in the previous Team Sonic Racing game, given the team focus of that one, but they're just, fun little race variants. Most of them you're on a team, and then if you beat the challenge, you'll get an temporary invincibility, frenzy-esque boost, and a point bonus at the end if you were the top earner of the challenge. Top team, I should say. Although maybe a top earner one, too, would be kind of nice. If, you're kind of carrying the team there. Maybe give yourself a little more of a shot. You could also boost if you clash your cars, pretty much like Mario Kart's anti-gravity sections. Speaking of which, I definitely preferred what this game did with its water and flying sections more than Mario Kart did, because in this game, it's more than just, a little bit of a physics change. It actually changes one of the core mechanics, being how you boost. So I don't know, for me it was a bit more impactful. I definitely struggled, though, with the flying, as you can probably have told by one of the earlier sections here in the background gameplay if you were watching. But yeah, I think it even says right in the game, though, that I can imagine, I didn't really play online or have anyone to really play with, but I can imagine some of the race park stuff being really fun with like a group too. But yeah, overall I really liked the game. I actually didn't like Racing Transformed that much, but I did really like the original All-Stars Racing. I think this is definitely up there with definitely a good alternative for not getting Mario Kart. Well, I guess in this case it was more of a replacement for the new Kirby Air Ride, which came out around the same time I bought this. I bought this when it first went on sale. When Mario Kart came out, I think it was the Sit Bar GP pack mod for Mario Kart 8 to sort of as a consolation, I guess. One thing I will say is Sit Bar had a better museum course that I thought was a pretty fun theme than the museum course in this game. But yeah, I got that out of my system. And I've honestly been here before. I remember with the Wii U not really thinking it was worth it, with everything also coming out on 3DS and just not, a lot of really good independent offerings. But I eventually caved there, and I hope when I cave on the Switch 2, it'll be after it's out of production, cheaper than it is now. As, a principle for, the Pal World lawsuit and $80 games, among other things. Almost hope Smash skips a generation, because I know that's going to be the really tough one. But yeah, that's, like I said, a whole other thing. And hey, some of the absurdity of these crossovers too, like having Hatsumiku drive the paddy wagon with, I forget what it was. I forget if it was Beyblade or Bakugan, but it was something like that with those decals on the cars. It's certainly something you never thought you would see, and is, a little bit of a fun novelty, at least for a little bit. And yeah, I got Knights in the game now, one of my favorite Sega series. Hopefully, we see more good crossovers coming up other than the ones we know. And yeah, hopefully all goes well and they can, keep supporting it even beyond year one.